So this is 18.1, 18.2, the basics of trigonometry. More importantly, it's the three functions: sine, cosine, and function and tangent. Okay. So if it's always going to be based on a right triangle. Okay, it needs to be a right triangle. I'm gonna label these points A, B, and C. Okay, so there are three trig ratios. Okay, they are called sine, S-I-N-E, but for short, they just drop the E. Sine, cosine, or for short, it's C-O-S, and tangent. Okay, or for short, it's T-A-N. All right, so that is the three trig functions, and all we're doing, class, is we are um, just using these trig functions to find angles and the side length. Okay. So the first thing we have to do is we have to label the sides and the side length or the sides. Okay. How do we label the sides? It depends on what angle you're looking at the triangle from. Okay. So in this example, I'm gonna look at it from angle A. Okay. So if I look at it from angle A, there are three sides that that we label these three sides. That makes sense. It's opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. Okay, these will always be your labeling. Okay, they will change next year or when you get deeper into trig functions. But for now, for the basics, these are your three labels of the sides. Okay, so side AB, side BC, or side AC, which one is my hypotenuse? AB, right? Because the hypotenuse, spelled that incorrectly. Hypotenuse. Okay, that will always be your longest side. All right, and the hypotenuse is always going to be opposite your 90-degree angle. Okay, remember that theorem? The side opposite the largest angle is the largest side. Okay, so 90 degrees is your largest angle. So that is your hypotenuse, the longest side. Okay, so that one's good. What is my opposite side? I'm looking at it from angle A. What is the opposite side of angle A? BC, right? Because that's directly opposite from, and then we're going to put OPP. Yeah, you know me. You guys don't know that yet. And here, right, this last side is my adjacent side because it's next to my angle A. Okay, it's next to my angle A, but it's not the hypotenuse. Okay, the other side besides the hypotenuse. Cool? So that's how we label the sides. That's always going to be your first step. All right? I cannot stress that enough. I don't care what I'm looking for. I don't care what the problem is, right? When we're dealing with trig, this is always going to be your first step, to label your sides. Okay? Opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. And the sine function, right? That is just the ratio of sine is just your opposite over your hypotenuse. Okay, I'm just gonna put O over H. Okay, for shorthand for opposite and hypotenuse, OH. Cosine is adjacent over your hypotenuse side. Okay, it's just a ratio or it's just a fraction. Okay, and that's A over H. Okay, tangent is going to be your opposite side over your adjacent side. That's why it's important to label your sides first. Okay, once you label your sides, this part is going to be easy. Okay, so for shorthand, it's O over A. Okay? And here's another cool way of, or another simpler way of remembering all the trig functions. Okay? Sine starts with S. It's opposite over hypotenuse, right? Opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And then tangent is opposite over adjacent. So tangent is opposite over adjacent, right? If you just remember this. So toa, right? Then you know your trig function. Okay? How simple is that? All right. Any questions? No? Okay, so what we're gonna do now is learn how to use your calculator. So if you do have a calculator, take it out now. Okay. If not, and if you have an iPhone, take that out. You can take that out and use that as well. Okay. But make sure on your iPhone that your phone is turned landscape. Okay. The calculator is turned landscape. And I believe your Android phone does that as well. Okay. All right. So we're gonna learn how to use your calculator too. So just put that to the side. So we're gonna run through some examples. Okay. So example number 1, it gives us this right triangle. And it says to find the tangent, sine, and another tangent of these angles. I don't care. Okay. So the first one is tangent of Q, right? I shouldn't say I don't care, but tangent of Q. And we are just going to label our, give the ratio. We're not going to do anything with the ratio. We're not going to do anything with the fraction. We're just going to practice what is a tangent. Okay. So we're trying to find the tangent of Q, right? And the sine. I should just put sine of Q as well, because they're the same angle. So we're at the viewpoint of angle Q. Remember that first step is to label the sides, opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. So let's do that. What is 15 in terms of Q? Your opposite side. So I'm going to put an O right here. Okay. What is 39? Hypotenuse. So then this must be my adjacent, right? Okay. So tangent is toa, because it's tangent, right? So if you just spell toa, it's O-T-O over A, correct? O-A. So my opposite side here is 15. So that's 15 over my adjacent side here is 36. 36. 36 and 15 both go into 3. So it's 5 over 12 if you just reduce the fraction. Cool? Sine S. So it's so, right? So O, so it's opposite over hypotenuse, right? So sine is 15 over opposite side is 15 again. Hypotenuse is 39. So they both go into 3. So that's 5 over 13. Cool? Question? No? Okay. Oh, tangent of R. Yeah. So we have to figure out the tangent of R. Right now, notice that my angle is changed, right? To R, from Q to R. So we're going to look at it from the viewpoint of this angle, angle R. So from the viewpoint of this angle, is this side still my hypotenuse? It's still my longest side, right? Yeah. The only thing that changes is this 36 now is my opposite side. So this is still my hypotenuse. This is my opposite side. So this has to be my adjacent side, right? Tangent again is TOA, so O over A, right? Opposite over adjacent. So that's 36 over 15, which is 12 over 5. Okay? Notice from angle Q and angle R, right? My opposite and my adjacent sides, they just flip, correct? So my tangent ratio flipped as well. Cool? So there's a relationship there that I just wanted to kind of cover. All right? Okay. We have this one. You know what? I'm going to give this one to you. All right, so try this out with a partner, and we'll come back together in about 2 minutes. I apologize, guys. The example was incorrect. Cosine of E and the sine of E we have to figure out. It's not math. All right? All right. So if you look at it from the viewpoint of angle D, right? Remember, our first step is always to label the sides, right? I know 25 is opposite of my 90-degree angle, so it's my hypotenuse, right? Opposite angle D is 7, so that's my opposite side. And so then this is my adjacent side, right? So sine, which is so, right? So it's O over H, which is equal to O 7 H 25. So that's 7 over 25. Okay? Oops. All right. So that's 7 over 25. Cosine of E, I have to relabel my sides. This is still my hypotenuse because that's the longest side. Opposite of angle E is 24, so that's my opposite. That's my hypotenuse. And then this is my adjacent, right? So cosine of E is A over H, right? Because it's cosine ka. So ka, so CAH is 7 over 25. Okay. Sine of E is opposite over hypotenuse again, because it's sine. So it's which is 24 over 25. Cool? Yeah. So look, in any one of these ratios that we did, the 6 ratios that we did, there are 3 things, right, that can change. Or there's everything can change, but essentially the sine, cosine, and tangent. I'm not talking about the sine, cosine, or tangent. I'm talking about the angle and the 2 sides. Okay? There's always going to be an angle and there's always going to be 2 sides. Okay? What we're going to do now is I'm going to label one of the sides as a variable or the angle as a variable. And we just got to figure out what that variable is. Okay, we're going to solve for x, essentially. Okay? So everybody understand how to label? Yeah? So moving on. So look at this one. Okay, so here is the problem, right? And we just got to solve for x. Okay, what is that side length? Huh. Okay, so we're given this angle as 37 degrees, and we're given this side as 15, and we're going to solve for x, right? Okay. My first step is to label the side, correct? But what side do we label, or what angle do we look at it from? And there's so many questions. They give us an angle. Okay? They give us the angle right here, so use it. If this is the angle that I'm looking at it from, I know opposite my 90-degree angle is my hypotenuse. So this is my hypotenuse, right? Opposite 37 is x. So that's my opposite side. You can label this side as well, but we're not going to be dealing with that side. Okay? So I have to figure out what x is, which is my opposite side. I have 15, which is my hypotenuse. So what trig function of 37 degrees is opposite or what trig function deals with opposite and hypotenuse? Sine, right? Because it's so. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because it's so, or sine equals my opposite over hypotenuse, I know I have to use sine. Because I have to figure out what my opposite side is, and I have my hypotenuse. Okay? So sine of 37 degrees equals x, opposite, over hypotenuse, which is 15. All we're going to do is solve that. Before we even touch the calculator, what I want you to do, how do I solve this for x? Multiply it by 15 on both sides, right? So if I multiply it by 15 on both sides, then x is going to equal 15 times the sine of 37, right? Now is when you need your calculator, okay? First thing on your calculator, in terms of your calculator or your phone, let me get, okay? Let me talk to you about your phone first, all right? Your phone, make sure that it's not rad. What I'm talking about is, you see this. Make sure that that rad button is up. Okay, it's not there. All right, so just make sure you want your phone to be in degrees. Radians is just another unit of measure that we're not going to talk about in this class. I'm going to talk about it in the future. But make sure that your phone is in degrees. Okay? All right? Like that. Okay? On your calculator, As well, make sure that your calculator is in degrees. Do you guys see how it's in DEG? That's degrees. If it says RAD like that, yeah, you see how it changed. If it is in radian mode, click the DRG button right here, or find on your calculator the DRG button. If you're having trouble finding it, just look up, okay, and I'll help you guys individually after this, okay? So click that DRG button and make sure you click the DEG, and now it's in degree mode, okay? If you're in radian mode, your answer will be incorrect, all right? So all we're gonna do is just type that out, 15 sine of 37. So 15 times the sine of 37, 9.02, okay? And if I tell you to round it in the nearest hundredth, 9.03, okay? So x is gonna equal 9.03. Cool? All right? Yeah. Let's try another one. We have this. Yeah. I am going to give you guys another example. Not this one. Or we're going to do this one and then after. So that is the angle that we're given, right? 53 degrees. Okay. Wait for 1 second. Going back to our previous example, I showed you guys on the calculator what to do, right? We go 15 times the sine of 37, right, to get 9.02. If you do have your iPhone, right, what I need you guys to do is press 37 sine, okay, times 15. Okay. Make sure you go in that order. All right, because on the iPhone, or even if you have a calculator that does not have a screen that you're typing, whenever I type a number, it's right there, right? If you don't have this screen on here, you got to type what we just typed out. Okay, so I'll do that again. 37 sine times 15. All right, so you're gonna go in that order. Okay, any questions on your calculator that I can help you with? Yes.
Took me the wrong way around. So I did it the other way and it's still right.
What, 15 times 37 sine equals? Yeah, you could do that as well, but then doing it this way, sine times 15, that kind of just gets rid of all the confusion of the buttons. That's all it is. Because then if you do it your way, 15 times what is that, 37 sine, people would think that this is the answer. They won't push that extra button. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any questions on your calculator that I can help you with? Everybody got it? Okay, moving on to our next example is here. Okay. So remember, our first step is to label the sides. Okay. 27 will be my hypotenuse. This side x will be my adjacent side. So then this is my opposite side, right? I have the angle, I have x, I have 27. I have the angle, I have my adjacent side and my hypotenuse, right? Or I need my adjacent side, I have my hypotenuse. So what trig function deals with A and H? Cosine, right? So cosine of the angle 53 degrees equals x over 27, because cosine is going to be A over H. And we're just going to multiply 27 to both sides. So x is going to equal 27 times the cosine of 53. Okay? So on your calculator, 27 times the cosine of 53 is 16.25. Okay, rounding it to your nearest hundredth. All right, cool. Yeah. The most confusing math, I did not put an example up here, so I'm gonna just make one up right now that I can give you, class, is let's say this. We have a triangle. That's my right angle. This side is, or this angle is, let's say 25 degrees. And let's say that this is x, and this side is 12. Okay? Algebra-wise, this is the most confusing. And you will see why. Okay? So we have this angle, 25. This is my 90-degree angle, so this is my hypotenuse, correct? This is my opposite because it's opposite the 25 degrees. And this is my adjacent, right? Okay? So what deals with O, which is 12, and A, which is x? Tangent. So the tangent of the angle 25 degrees equals 12 over x. Okay? So notice that my variable now is in my denominator. Okay? How do I get that? What do I do? Because before, we just multiplied, right? Multiplied by 27 to get rid of the 27, right? But now, my variable is in my denominator. Mathematically, what do I do? Yeah. Cross multiply, okay? If you cross multiply it, that's over 1. So that would be x times the tangent of 25 equals 1 times 12, which is 12. And then what? Because I have to solve for x, right? It's times. Divide by what? X? Then let's just get back to here. Tangent of 25, right? So x is going to equal 12 divided by the tangent of 25. Okay? Now, I want to take a couple of seconds and compare these two guys. Okay? So if this is my equation where my variable is in my denominator, right? And it comes out to be x equals this, right? What can I do from here to just make it look like this? What's the difference between these two? The x and the tangent of 25, they just switched, right? So whenever we have something like this, let me write it here. The tangent of 25 equals 12 over x. Whenever your variable is in my denominator, right? All we're gonna do to just make the math simple is to take these two guys and just switch places. So then x equals 12 divided by the tangent of 25. Okay? That makes sense? All right. So if we put that here, 12 divided by the tangent of 25, that's 25.73. Okay? So your x value is going to be 25.73. How do you do that on the phone? The easiest way, the most efficient way that you don't go into like, you don't set yourself up for failure, tangent of 25. You do the tangent of 25 first, okay? And what we do with that number to the 4 decimal places, just write it down somewhere. I'm gonna write down 0.4663. Okay, I wrote it down on the side. And let's go 12 divided by 0.4663. And that number is actually really close to what we had. Okay? All right? That's the most efficient way that you guys do not fall into any traps. I can tell you, if you go 12 divided by, what is that, 25? Yeah, 25 tangent, 25 tangent equals. You have to press that equal button again. And some kids, or you guys, students, don't push the equal. They always forget the equal button. All right? Because we're just so used to not pushing that equals button. Okay? Cool? All right? Okay. So that's how we figure out the missing side. Now, what if the angle was missing? Same idea though. Okay, the same first step. What's the first step? Label the sides. Okay, so angle P, right? We have to figure out what angle P is. Okay, so in terms of angle P, this is my hypotenuse. What is 18? My opposite. So then this is my adjacent. I have 18 and 8, which is opposite over adjacent, which is what? What trig function deals with opposite and adjacent? Tangent. Okay, so the tangent of P is going to equal 18 over 8. And we're actually done with the math. We just got to plug it into our calculator. Because how we figure out what P is, right? We're going to get the inverse of tangent. Okay? So whenever we're looking for the angle, we want to get rid of my tangent, which we're going to basically put it to the -1 power. It's not the power, but it's just the notation. That's called the inverse tangent. And that you can find on your calculator. So you see the buttons that are above sine, cosine, and tangent. Sine to the -1, that's really close. Huh? Sine to the -1, cosine to the -1, and tangent to the -1. Yeah. Again, that's inverse. I'm just saying it's to the -1 power because then you guys know that notation. So all we're gonna do is go 18 divided by, I should zoom out, 18 divided by 8, right? Equals 2.25, okay. Push second, tangent, and that will come out. 18 divided by 8, plug that in, and that gives you the angle, 66.04. Yeah. On your calculator or on your iPhone or a calculator that does not have a screen that you type. Okay. Let's go over that. what you're gonna push first is push second, right? And you see that button that comes up, right? Tangent to the -1. That's not the button you push first though. Okay. Go 18 divided by 8. Oh, 18 divided by 8, 2.25. Push second if it's not already pushed. Inverse tangent. Okay. All right. That is the same number. Cool? Yes. No. Did you have a question? Okay. So that is 66.04. So class, if this is 66.04, what is this angle here?
66.04 plus 90. Wait, plus 90 plus x equals.
So 180 minus 90 minus 66.04, right? Yeah. That's 23.96. So this angle here is 23.96. All I did was I subtracted 180 from the angles that we know. Okay. Can I figure out what my hypotenuse is? Yeah. You can use the Pythagorean theorem for sure. 8 squared plus 18 squared equals h squared, right? And do that. Or you can use trig functions as well. And just label this missing side as y, right? And then go, that's my hypotenuse. Adjacent side is 8. So the cosine of 66.04 equals 8 over y, and then solve it that way. Okay? Questions? Yes. What's my cosine ratio? Yeah. Is it cosine equals what? From the beginning. What is my cosine ratio equal to in terms of opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse? It's not enough. Yeah, because then x is a and h is 27. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna do these really quick. Yeah. So in this case here, we're trying to figure out what measure of angle U is and W, but we'll deal with W in a little bit. U is here. So this is my hypotenuse because it's opposite my 90-degree angle. This is my opposite because it's opposite my angle that I'm looking at it from. And this is my adjacent, but I have no information there. So that's just practice. So I think to myself, okay, I want to figure out what angle U is. Cool. I have my opposite side. I have my hypotenuse. So what trig function deals with O and H? Sine. Sine equals opposite over hypotenuse, right? So sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. So the sine of angle U equals opposite, which is 11 over 15. And I just bust out my calculator. So I'm going to get the inverse sine of 11 divided by 15. Oh, not 25. 15. Okay. And that's it. 47 point, let's just round it to the nearest 10th, 2. 47.2. So u degrees equals 47.2. Okay. So if this angle is 90 and this angle is 47.2, all I have to do here is change my color, is go 180 minus 90 minus 47.2. Okay, which is 90 minus 47.2, which is 42.8. Okay. So that's my answer, 42.8 degrees. Okay. Okay. Last example of the day is here. I'm going to get measure of angle F first. So F is here. This is my hypotenuse. This is my opposite. This is my adjacent. What deals with O and A because I have 17 and 13? Tangent. So tangent of F degrees equals 17 over 13. Take out my calculator. Inverse tangent of 17 divided by 13. That's 52.6 degrees. So F equals 52.6 degrees. And so what is angle G? Angle G is going to be 90 minus 52.6 degrees, right? Because 180 minus 90 is 90. Okay, you're always going to be subtracting that right angle, right? So 180 minus 90 is always going to be 90. So 90 minus 52.6 equals 7.4. Yeah. And that is the lesson for 18.1 and 18.2. Okay. Thank you. And I'll see you guys on the next one.